All right, so are you looking for some stock picks under $20, with the potential to really take off?
Hmm.
Well, we've got this article here from November 4th, 2024, that highlights three companies
Okay.
with strong buy ratings from analysts. And you know what often goes hand in hand with those strong buy
That's
ratings?
good.
Earnings growth.
Right.
The kind that can really, really drive a stock price up.
Yeah, that's right. And, these ratings can be especially useful
Yeah.
in a market like this one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, while analyst ratings aren't foolproof, they offer a peek into how the experts are feeling. So when you see a bunch of them agreeing on a strong buy, well, that's definitely something to pay
All
attention
right.
to.
Let's dive into the first company on our list, Prosus. Now, Prosus is interesting because they're not your typical tech company.
Right.
Think of them more like a scout
Oh,
sniffing out promising tech startups, especially in those emerging markets that are often tough for everyday investors to get into.
exactly.
Mm.
Instead of trying to pick individual winners yourself, with Prosus, you're essentially getting a pre-vetted portfolio
Hmm.
focused on four key areas: classifieds, food delivery, payments and fintech, and edtech.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
All sectors with massive growth potential,
Hmm.
especially as these emerging markets continue to develop.
And get this, they recently sold off their stake in the Chinese tech giant Tencent.
Oh, wow.
That was a huge win for them, and now they're using that cash to buy back their own stock.
Buybacks like that are often a sign that a company believes its stock is undervalued. It's essentially them putting their money where their mouth is,
Yeah.
which can be a really positive signal for investors.
Plus, Prosus is projecting some serious growth for their e-commerce business unit, aiming to hit an adjusted profit of $400 million by the end of their fiscal year. And there's more.
What?
They've got a few Indian businesses that are expected to IPO in the next 18 months.
Wow.
So there are multiple avenues for potential growth here.
And those growth projections are reflected in those strong buy ratings we mentioned. 12 analysts have given Prosus the thumbs up, with a consensus price target of $10.66. That's a pretty decent jump from its current price of $8.50.
All right, ready to switch gears and maybe tap into a bit of nostalgia?
Sure.
Let's talk about Nintendo.
Ah, Nintendo. They've been bringing us those iconic gaming characters like Mario and Donkey Kong for decades. But they're not just resting on their laurels.
Right. Their Nintendo Switch console has been a monster hit, and the user base keeps growing. But the really interesting thing is they're planning to launch a next-generation Switch in March 2025.
Oh, wow.
Imagine the hype. New games, new features, and a whole new wave of gamers eager to get their hands on it.
And it's not just about the hardware anymore. Nintendo's getting really savvy about squeezing more value out of those beloved characters.
The Super Mario Bros. Movie was a box office smash, wasn't it?
It was.
And they're already planning a sequel. Plus, they're building those immersive theme parks. It's like they're creating a whole Nintendo entertainment empire.
And that strategic shift is clearly catching the eye of investors. Of the 22 analysts covering Nintendo, 12 have given it a strong buy rating. And the consensus price target, a whopping $63.30.
Hold on, let me do the math here. That's a potential increase of, wait for it, 380% from its current price of $13.07.
Now, I know a 380% jump might sound like a long shot, and it's important to remember that analyst predictions aren't always perfect. But this does give you an idea of the kind of potential they see in Nintendo's long-term strategy.
Okay, so we've got Prosus riding the global tech wave and Nintendo leveling up its entertainment game. Now let's talk about a company that's tapping into something a little different, something that's been attracting a lot of attention lately.
What's that?
Gold. And that brings us to our third pick, Barrick Gold.
Interesting.
Gold has always had this allure, this safe haven appeal, especially when the market gets a little shaky. And with Barrick Gold, you're not just betting on the price of gold, you're investing in one of the world's biggest gold mining operations.
That's right.
Yeah.
Barrick Gold is a giant in the industry,
Right.
boasting a market cap of over $33 billion.
Wow.
And their crown jewel,
Yeah.
the Cortez Gold Mine in Nevada, has been a consistent source of revenue for them for over half a century.
That's incredible.
Talk about a legacy.
And while Goladi's stock performance has been somewhat modest this year, up about 5%, the real excitement lies in their earnings projections for the next 12 months. Analysts are forecasting a whopping 42% growth.
Really?
Now that's something to pay attention to.
Absolutely. And those strong earnings expectations are reflected in the analyst ratings. Out of 21 analysts covering Barrick, 11 have given it a strong buy rating, with a consensus price target of $24.67. Not too shabby, considering it's currently trading around $19.22.
Wow.
That's a potential gain of almost 30%.
So let's take a step back for a second. We've got three very different companies here, each with its own unique story. Prosus, the tech-focused investor, Nintendo, the entertainment powerhouse, and Barrick Gold, capitalizing on the gold rush.
It's a fascinating mix. And each one might appeal to a different kind of investor. Someone who's bullish on the future of tech might find Prosus particularly interesting.
Right.
A gamer at heart might see the potential in Nintendo's long-term strategy. And someone looking for a more traditional safe haven asset might be drawn to Barrick Gold.
Exactly. But of course, you're probably thinking, okay, this is all very interesting, but how do I actually use this information to make smart investment decisions?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the answer is, it's not just about looking at analyst ratings and earnings projections. Those are important pieces of the puzzle, but they're not the whole picture. The
Yeah.
real work begins
Yeah.
when you start digging deeper.
Right. It's like, we've given you the treasure map,
Yeah.
but you still need to go out there and find the treasure yourself.
Exactly. You need to understand the company's business models, read their financial statements, and get a sense of their competitive landscape. And perhaps most importantly, you need to consider your own financial goals
Yeah.
and risk tolerance.
Because, let's be honest, investing always carries some level of risk. Past performance is never a guarantee of future results. What might be a great investment for one person might not be the right fit for another.
That's why it's crucial to do your due diligence.
Yeah.
Don't just jump into an investment because you heard it on a podcast, no matter how much you enjoy listening to us.
Hey, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. Take the time to really understand what you're investing in. Read those annual reports. Pay attention to industry trends. And maybe even talk to a financial advisor if you need some extra guidance.
And remember, the market is always changing. New trends emerge, companies evolve, and what seems like a sure thing today could be a different story tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to stay informed and keep learning.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into these three intriguing stocks, Prosus, Nintendo, and Barrick Gold, I think the biggest takeaway here isn't necessarily about these specific companies. It's more about the process itself. We've given you a framework for thinking about potential investments, for analyzing information, and for figuring out what aligns with your own investment goals and risk tolerance.
Exactly. Think of this deep dive as a toolkit.
Okay.
For your investment journey. Analyst ratings, earnings projections, understanding business models and market trends. These are all tools you can use to evaluate any company that catches your eye.
So even if these particular stocks don't feel like the right fit for you right now,
Right.
that's totally fine. The real value here is in developing your own investing skills and building that investor's mindset.
And who knows, maybe this deep dive has sparked some new ideas for you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's made you curious about other companies in these sectors. Or perhaps it's inspired you to explore completely different industries altogether.
That's what we love to see. The market is vast, and there's always something new to learn, new trends to follow, new opportunities to uncover. It's about staying curious, asking questions, and never stopping that learning process.
And with a little bit of effort and a willingness to dig deeper, you can find investments that truly resonate with you, investments that have the potential to help you reach your financial goals.
So as we wrap up our deep dive today, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that investor's mindset engaged. The world of investing is full of possibilities, and with the right approach, you can navigate it with confidence and achieve your financial aspirations.
Happy investing.
Yeah, good luck out there.